So hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Um, it's Monday and we are back at it. Took a half a day off, and ended up being super busy this weekend. So I'm grateful for being busy and just looking at what everyone's working on right now and talking to everyone. I think everyone is pretty busy right now. So that's a good thing. And we were going to talk about just getting busier. I think Brian and I had a few appointments last week with new agents and clients, and it just seems like overall we're just getting busier. Listings are definitely picking up. Is anyone else seeing that trend of busyness right now?
I am.
So it's one of those things that, this time of year, we all know that the springtime is a time that we normally ramp up. And as it gets hot, sometimes it slows down. And I think we're seeing a little bit of the opposite this year as we are in this crazy type market. So we had and I'm going to reference one of the meetings that Brian and I had last week with a client, but we had a client that came into our office, and we actually talked to her once before about taking a listing. And she was very hesitant on allowing us to take the listing, not because it was us, but just because of the way that the market is right now. But we were able to educate her and let her know, like, as a seller, you gotta kind of be willing to be a little bit more flexible in this, what we call a balanced market. But just doing some research over the weekend, just wanted to let you know kind of what was going on. So the Association of Realtors says that May of 2025, Phoenix realtors are actively discussing the shifts in the market. And this is probably all of us right now, characterized by increase in inventory, cooling prices, and evolving buyer-seller dynamics. So what we're ultimately seeing, just this morning, there was 1,055 new listings in the MLS. So what does that mean for our sellers? Does anyone want to chime in on what that means when we have more active listings on the market and the market is shifting right now?
The buyers are going to get what they want.
That's part of it. Yep. Anything else? What should we be talking to our sellers about?
The laws of supply and demand.
There you go. Do you want to expand on that just a little bit, Brian?
Yeah. So whenever there's too much of something, the cost of it's going to come down. So, and I always say this with clients, that it depends on your neighborhood, of course, but if there's a 30,000 inventory for homes for sale, which is close to a 5 to 6 month inventory, for our market, it's going to be more of a balanced market and leaning towards a buyer's market. So prices are going to have to come down if they want to sell their house.
And that's a good way to put it to sellers. I mean, that you got to make them realistic. A lady we met with wanted to do a 90-day listing agreement. Is it realistic to really take that? In this particular market, the average days on the market in Phoenix Metro is like 70 days. So what are the chances? We had to kind of explain to the client that the issues that you're going to run up against is that there's 14 other houses in your neighborhood that's for sale. So unless your house is either priced correctly or standing out above everyone else, the buyers, like Selena just said, the buyers have more options. They have more that they can shop for. So you have to be realistic with your buyers on time frame. You have to be realistic with your buyers on the house itself and things that they may need to do to the house. And then ultimately, you have to be realistic about pricing the house, just because the buyers have more options now. We all know that the new builds our buyers were leaning more towards new builds because of the incentives that were being offered. So we have to let our sellers know that too, that you may be competing with nearby new builds if those are nearby. Because I think what's happening, and I'm seeing this more and more, if you see the canceled listings or the expired listings, I think ultimately some of that is unrealistic expectation that the agents are giving the sellers. Brian, you have something?
Yeah, so our particular client, she's a lovely lady. She was upfront with us with everything. And I honestly tried to talk her out of listing right now. just to be fair because of how much competition she has in the neighborhood and her expectations of what she thinks her home is worth compared to what's going on in the market. And we later negotiated a longer listing agreement, which gives us a little bit more peace of mind that she's just not going to fire us after 90 days. But like Earl is alluding to, being honest, it costs us money to put these homes up for sale, and we may not get that back if we get fired or if negotiations don't work out. So that's something you need to be upfront with your sellers is, there's the upfront costs of me not just listing it, but also my time, which our hourly rates are a lot longer than a lot of other agents. And we're just not gonna throw something up on the board and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
Your credibility goes a long way too when you're upfront with these sellers and letting them know. And then they'll go out and find an article and says these guys weren't lying. These guys are telling the truth. That just builds your credibility, and they will refer you more if you're honest with these people. So I'll stop there.
No, that was good. And actually, thank you for bringing the light to that. So the day after we met with the client, that's a true story. She texted us an article that she found that explained exactly what we were explaining to her. And hence the reason why upon our meeting, not only did she allow us to extend the listing agreement, but she also lowered the price. Not quite where we wanted it to be, but she was able to come down and see what others in her neighborhood were doing. So just try to educate your clients. And ultimately, like Brian said, it ends up costing you money. So you want to be sure that you are just being honest with them. And I know we all want listings. We all want business. But if it's not the right thing to do for the client, or you can't come to that mutual agreement. A lot of our what we do for a living is coming to a mutual agreement, whether that's with the buyer or the seller or, the other agents. Most of our job has to do with negotiations and coming to a mutual agreement. So if you can't do that with a listing or a seller, then maybe you just need to pass on it.
It's okay to pass.
Yeah. In the end, you're going to be spending money on something you may not be able to recoup. So, again, this also talks about the extended time on the market. I said 70 days. It's 67 days, which is still up from April, up 18% in April. And the reason why that there's extended times on the market is because more houses are coming on the market.
There's articles on the news, and Phoenix Business Journal, Arizona Central. This spring was a letdown for sales, and we all knew that was going to happen because of everything that's going on. So don't let it be a doom and gloom for your buyers. You got to let them know that there are opportunities coming, and they might want to buy more into that, buy the house, date the rate kind of thing, because we don't know when this is going to change.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the next step that I was going to go into is the rates. Something that's actually affecting what's happening in our market also is the high interest rates, where interest rates are hovering between 6.5% to 7%. It's saying that's influencing the buyer's affordability. In some cases, in some areas in Arizona, first-time home buyers are totally priced out of the market. I've had 2 in the last couple of weeks that have decided to rent for another year to see what the market does. While that's heartbreaking to us that we, won't be able to help them find their home, at the same time, it also gives me a pipeline for next year. So the way I view that, I put them both on more of a system where they're still getting a postcard or they're still getting random emails and things like that for me as a part of my networking and marketing plan to keep myself in the loop with them for next year. Like Brian just said, we don't know what the rates are going to do, but we know where they are today. Federal Reserve met last Wednesday and decided to keep things as they are. So is that good news? Sort of. They didn't raise it. So I take it as good news that at least we're still where we were. But think about your first-time home buyers, and for you, those of you out there that have purchased homes in the past, it will be a tough time right now to buy a home for a first-time home buyer. If you have a little bit more leverage, you may own another house that you can take funds out of, or you can sell. That may be a little different situation than for a first-time home buyer. So just keep that in mind when you're having the conversation with them as well. I was going to mention, and you might want to just ask your lender, that the DPA program, the Home and 5, one of them came back. Selena said that she thinks it was Home and 5 Advantage, but it's also close to out of money all over again because it was a really popular program. But I encourage you to reach out to your lender, whoever that may be, whichever lender you're using, just to ask the question if it's back, because it might be an opportunity for your first-time home buyers. That wasn't, we thought it's gone. So talk about the market that we're in and some of the things that we're doing. I wanted to kind of just have a conversation about some strategies that the successful realtors, even in our group, are doing to kind of keep things going. So some of the things that I came up with was a lot of realtors that have been doing this for a long time, they anticipate the market shifting. And we talked about it last year, I think in November, about how the listings were going to come back. And I have notes where we were talking about it, and it was like, we can't find anything, and clients are really hesitant. And now we have all these listings. So we knew it was going to happen. So you almost anticipate, or you forecast what you think is going to happen. It says that, in summary, Phoenix realtors are navigating and a transitioning market and emphasizing the importance of adaptability for both the buyers and the sellers. We kind of just talked about that, but it's a matter of your buyers being realistic with them on what's on the market and what they can afford based on their lenders. But you can also tell them that they might have more advantages to negotiate concessions with the sellers right now. And I think also being realistic with the sellers to let them know that they need to price correctly, they need to have the house ready to show, and they have to be a little bit more flexible in this particular market, because their audience, their buyers, are going to be people that have lots of options. So you need to just make sure you're letting them know that. Let's see here. So the next thing I have is, I found out there was like 7 items that realtors can do to succeed in a balanced market. So I thought these were good, actually, because some of them we already do. Some of them we focus a little bit more on than others. But it says, just to help realtors in a balanced market where neither the buyer or the seller actually has a significant advantage. You focus on education and market literacy. So does anyone have clients that reach out to them and say, hey, I want to know what my house is worth today? Or even on HomeBot, those that use HomeBot. I'm sure like all of us have clients that reach out to us. And if you have HomeBot, it tells you every Monday which ones are asking to know what their houses are worth. But education and the overall literacy of what's going on. The client that I mentioned, that was today, as of May 9th.
Yeah, I got this information from one of the lenders that I work with. It came back May 9th. They got 75 million again for that Platinum Home and 5, which I used with one of my clients, and my clients actually got their earnest money back. So if you negotiate it, you can get paid for your buyer's agent compensation. So if you guys want more information, let me know. I really encourage it. Post it, but I don't want to take up your time. I just wanted to share it with you guys.
I wanted to talk about that, because for the buyers, that could be a great opportunity for them.
It is.
And I know, is that the one that it gives 4% or 6%?
4%. Yeah. So they'll get 3.5 towards their down payment, and then the rest of it can be used towards closing costs. If we negotiate closing costs, then they can pretty much come in with 0 down, other than like their inspection and appraisal.
So if you have clients that think that they can't afford it, this program was really huge. I know a few years ago, and now it's back. But 645 FICO, income level 141, 820, DTI less than 50%. It has to be a primary resident, and they have to take a home buyers education program in Maricopa County. But it definitely is a good program for those buyers out there that may need a little help. So. But again, back to what we were talking about, it actually flows right into that. Educating your buyers on the market and giving them literacy. So if you call one of your first-time home buyers and you say, hey, there's a program out there through one of my preferred lenders called Home and 5 Platinum, and they were just about to renew their lease, that might be a great opportunity for them to still get into this market. You know, financially, it can be helpful. So make sure you are understanding the market and kind of what's going on. I think that's why I try to drive it home that we are in this balanced market right now, which is shifting to a buyer's market. The more houses, and as Brian alluded to this, the more houses that go in the market, the buyers have more opportunity for negotiations and they can become more picky. But we are definitely shifting to that direction. So just understanding that. So understanding how to negotiate for your buyers and how to still win listings for your sellers. Pricing and time on the market, it says it's different for buyers and sellers on the market. And just provide regular market updates. So whether that's an email that you send out once or twice a month, just to all your buyers in your database that says, hey, this is what's going on in the market. Those type of emails or texts, they often get a lot of, it provides communication between you and your client and also just keeps you in front of them. And I think at the end of the day, like I mentioned, I have those 2 clients that decided to rent for another year. My plan is just to keep in front of them so that when they are ready, they'll say, okay. I know one in particular just renewed their lease, but I'm going to send them information on this Home in 5 program today, just in case something has changed. It says sharpen negotiation skills. So ultimately, this is the time that we can shine with our negotiation skills. We're negotiating with our sellers, the concessions, the buyer broker compensation, the repairs. We have a lot in there that we're negotiating. For our buyers, same thing. We have to ask them now to pay our buyer broker compensation. So a lot of buyers have been asking me, so I mean, almost like, what do you do? Especially on the new build transactions when typically we turn it over to the salesperson, but I still show up and I still read contracts and I still am there for them to answer any questions that they may have. So it's not like just sign the contract and it's done. So, you know, time to sharpen your negotiation skills. Number 3, it says reinforce relationship marketing. So again, postcards, emails, text messages, any way that you communicate with your client. I know B has done pop buys before, you know, different times of the year where you just pop by their house or pop by their office and drop off a little gift to them. But they remember those things. And when they're ready to pull the trigger either way, the buy or the sell, I'll give you a great example. I had yesterday was Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms that are on the call. And I think I texted all of you yesterday, but I had a client that I actually texted last night or yesterday and just wished her a happy Mother's Day. And her response was perfect timing. She said, me and my husband are looking to buy a new house in Tempe. We just want to stay in the same area. So then she immediately sent me 3 of the houses in her area that she's interested in. So there was no, it wasn't a targeted text. It was just a happy Mother's Day. And I truly meant to say happy Mother's Day. But because of that, I may have picked up a new listing and a buyer because she needs to sell the other house. So just reinforce your relationship with your clients. If you have social media, it tells you when their birthdays are. It tells you when their anniversaries are. It definitely gives you a lot of information. So I would use that to just reinforce your relationship with your client and to build long-term relationships with them. And we've been known, our entire group has been known to really drive home the relationship piece of our clients. It's not just a transaction to us. I still talk to people that I've closed houses for years ago. And sometimes they'll call me with things that are totally out of the scope of real estate, but it definitely, it means a lot to me that they follow up with me, but also I just sometimes, if I haven't heard from them, just send a text to say hi. So, but again, that's the way you build relationships as well. And right now you need them more than ever. Let's see, talks about number 4, listing update and pricing strategies. We already talked a little bit about that, but it's just being realistic with your buyers and your sellers. I am one of those that I have a listing right now that in the beginning, I tried to be as realistic as possible and I ended up taking the listing, but I haven't sold it yet. And if we would have started where I suggested as a professional, it probably would have been sold already, but I didn't. I went against my better judgment and this house is still sitting. But 6 months ago when we listed, if we would have listed where I think we should have, it would have been sold already. So don't spin your wheels and spend all your money if you don't think that it's where you want it to be. And remember, when you go into these appointments, you are the professional. You are the one that has done the research. You're the ones that do this as a service for them. So we want to be sure that we're just being realistic with them. It's not really fair to them either. It says refine buyer readiness. And it says buyers in a balanced market can take their time, but they'll need to be pre-qualified and educated on how to move confidently when the right property comes. We've all had those clients that reached out to us and say, hey, can we go see this house tonight at 7:00? And you say, do you have a pre-qual? He's like, no, I'll get the pre-qual after I see the house if I'm interested. Well, although there's more houses on the market and inventory levels are increasing, we have to do our due diligence to make sure that our clients are qualified to go out to see these. Not only do we have them sign now that, one of the buyer broker agreements, whether that's to Show Homes or the other one, which makes it official that you're going to be going out. But it also, it's one of those things that we have to make sure that they've done the steps in order to go out. If you don't know the client, definitely make sure they're pre-qualified. Keep in mind, that's not only a way to be sure that they're qualified, but also to protect yourself, because now the lender has their social and their address and all the information. So make sure that they're doing the due diligence there. It says offer the tech tools, again, your videos, virtual tours, staging, social media content, kind of pretty much do all that in order to keep your clients engaged and up to date on some educational information that you might not be able just to give them directly. And then the very last one just says help agents build authority with blog posts, webinars, short marketing videos. It's all about the education. We have 2 great conference rooms at the office. If you guys ever wanted to do a webinar or host an event for your clients or for people to come, I know in the past we've had some great ideas to do some things like Easter egg hunts or pictures with Santas and things like that, as the holidays come around. So keep in mind, those are great opportunities to connect with your clients. So definitely want to do those things as well, just to stay connected. Does anyone else have anything that they do right now in this particular market that has been successful?
I can touch on your building relationship piece and doing like pop buys or sending a little gift. People remember you for that. And I really love giving gifts to my clients. So I actually got a referral from one of my past clients that closed in December. I think it was December. So for her daughter's birthday, I sent her like a belated little birthday gift. And the other day I got a random text message from someone that was referred to me by that couple. And now we're actually getting ready to list their home in Surprise, and they're going to be purchasing a new build. So nice. I think, people remember you, you just have to continue to stay in touch with them. Sometimes you might not get a response, but just be consistent. And I think that's the way that I get most of my clients is through referrals or, the networking. But I think the pop buys are really fun. I know sometimes it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, I don't know, a hand sanitizer with a little card. And I'll show you guys examples. I've been a little bit behind on that, but I do want to start doing it again. And then let me know, or do you have more to go over? I don't want to, I haven't open house.
No, go ahead. I just have some updates, so you're fine.
Okay, no, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll go at the end.
Well, I didn't have much. So the only thing I had left on here was just to give a couple dates. So we're going to have our second quarter broker meeting on June 18th. It's a Wednesday from 10 to 11:30. I think it's going to be virtual again. If not, it might be a combination of both. But June 18th, I'm pretty sure it's a Wednesday, from 10 to 11:30. So I'll send out some invites to that. Happy hour, we're going to do a happy hour on May 28th. It'll most likely be in the evening, 5:30 or 6 p.m. the location is to be determined. So I will get to with everyone on that. But May 28th is the date. And then I just wanted to list it. Right now we have 7 listings, 1 coming soon. There's open house opportunities if anybody is interested in those and obtaining new buyers that way. B may need some help with the open house event that she has coming up. So I just wanted to announce that. And that's all I have. So B, do you want to talk a little bit about your open house coming up?
Yes, so I will be hosting an open house Saturday and Sunday. I'll come from the times. It's probably going to be 10 to 2. Yeah, 10 or 10. Yeah. Yes, 10 to 2. Sorry. I had to like double check. Saturday and Sunday. It's a really beautiful home. So it's great for pictures. If you guys want to come by and do like a little bit of social content for your social media, you know, we can help you take pictures. It's really cute. It's a really nice house. You don't have to stay the full 4 hours. If you can only do a couple of hours, that's great. I can use all the help I can get. There's a casita in the back. So I kind of I don't know how busy it will be because it's on a street. So on a busy street, I just don't want, you know, people just randomly walking to the back. And so if you guys are interested, let me know, shoot me a text message. And then for any of our new agents, I have a listing coming up in Surprise. May is going to be a really busy weekend, or I'm sorry, May is a really busy month for me. So if anybody's interested, once I get pictures done on this home, I would like to have an open house the 24th and 26th. The only problem is my son graduates that weekend, so I'm going to be busy and I have family in town. So if anybody is interested, let me know. And I think that's all I have.
Okay. Well, we definitely have those opportunities out there. I know May is shaping up, the end of May is shaping up to be a really busy month for most of us. So I was trying to do our happy hour after the graduations and everything that's going on to kind of everyone can kind of settle down and chill and prepare for June. So, but I'll get the location out and the time for that. And then the broker meeting, I'll send invites to everyone on that one as well. So with that, does anyone else have anything else? We got about a minute left. Okay. Well, then everyone have a fantastic week. I will be in and out of the office. I'll spend a lot of time in the East Valley this week. But if you need anything and I'm not there, just, you know, call me on my cell phone or just shoot me an email.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a great
good
week,
week.
everyone.
Bye.
All right. Bye.